Hello everyone, this is my guide for the Fairune Origin any percent speedrun. So I've literally just set the world record like half an hour ago, and I promised I made this, so let's just get right into it. So for the movement in this game, you have to really take a strict route and just stick to that, so it can really become just muscle memory. Like if you do different movement every run, it'll be really hard to memorize that for your brain. So you just have to sort of, it doesn't like it a lot of places it doesn't matter what type of movement you do, like whether you go 2 up 3 right here for example, or you go 3 right 2 up. It doesn't matter, it doesn't save any time either way. But just pick a type of, like pick a route and just stick with it all the way through. This just minimizes error in the long run, like it means that you will make a lot less mistakes when it comes to movement, which is really good. So yeah, I'll just do the way that I usually move. So since it's 90%, you can just ignore all of the enemies. And here it's you can do something like this, for example, where you go like 3 right, 1 up, 2 down, then 1 left. But what I do usually is I go like this. Again, you're trying to minimize the amount of time where you gotta do a lot of inputs in quick succession. So like, having to do like left up, left up, left up, down, left, right, whatever. It's like it will make you do a lot of mistakes. So yeah, and then you get the axe here, go down, and that was what I call a fast menu. So as an explanation from fast menus, if you take a look at the menu, you can see that generally you're only supposed to use Z and Enter for your menus, and you're only supposed to use arrow keys and WASD for moving around and like navigating through the menu. But actually, there's a lot more keys than Z. Like you only can use these to move, but you can use a lot more keys than Z and Enter to navigate around the menu. I have no idea why this works, but C, V, Q, right shift, and also numpad enter also works. Hold on a second. There we go. That also works to open up and navigate through the menu. So we can abuse this in a lot of different ways. Basically, the way I do it and the way I did it just now is instead of doing Z right Z, which is what is called a slow menu, only using Z and arrow keys, I actually do QDV. So I do Q to open the menu, D to go right, and V, because, part of WSD, and then V to select the axe right there. And if you do it really quickly, it just looks like that. You can really do it in a couple of frames, and that will be necessary if you want to get a quick time. So like, just what I would suggest to you is just make like a save right here. Like just save this before you do this menu, and then just do this over and over again for a couple minutes before you do runs, and just get really consistent at it. Like practice is everything in this game. If you only have like a 10% rate of doing it in practice, then don't try to do it in runs. Just get consistent at it. It's just muscle memory. So yeah, and there's actually 4 different types of menus. You can, again, this is the way, what I found to be the most consistent for me. But you can really use your own combination of these. Like you can do QDZ, you can do QDC, you can do QD enter. The way, like the reason I just do QDV is because it's you only have to use one hand for it. So that means that your like if you're doing Q right arrow Z, you're losing a lot of time and consistency because you have to like alternate timings between your hands, and doing a menu on one hand is a lot easier than doing it on two. It's a lot quicker, it's a lot faster. So I would just, I would just suggest you do it the same way I do, but you can really create your own way of doing it. Like you can do QDZ, that works, QDC still works, like, there's a lot of different ways of going about it. I'm just like giving you the way I do it. And for this is like the second type of menu. Here you do, or I use C and V because they're right next to each other. You could do something like Q and Z, you could do Q and C, Q and V, whatever works for you. I just use C and V. Optimally, it should look like that. When doing these menus, you actually have to look out that you're not doing this too early. Like what happens to me a lot in runs is that I sort of approach this and I press C and V too early. Like the way this works in this game is you can buffer inputs, like while you're in between tiles, you can buffer an input, and that input will immediately be executed on the first frame possible once you enter the next tile. What you have to look out for with this is that the game only buffers up to one input at a time. So if you do C and V while you're in between two tiles, it will only register the C, and then this will happen. No, you maybe heard two inputs there, but the game actually just did one. So that's kind of the thing you have to look out for. This is really useful when doing menus, but it can also backfire if you go too quickly. And right here, you just turn down, do another CV menu. Get the grass metal. You could get the fire metal first, but as you can see in the inventory, the fire metal is actually fire metal is gets placed at the start of your inventory. So if you pick it up first and then go for this menu, you will actually have to go right twice to get to the axe, so that loses some time. So that's the reason why you go for the grass metal first, and then you just take this line or I take this line to the temple. Again, you get the switch here, and so there's 3 of these cutscenes. The first one's actually after you talk to the blue fairy. So after that, after the yellow things here, the laser bridge, whatever you want to call it, after those appear, there is a very there's a sound that plays, and then there's a very weird delay that just that prevents you from moving. Obviously, you can't move during a cutscene, and you just have to get used to that. The way I do it, it's like I listen to the sound cue, and then there's just a certain time after the sound cue. It doesn't actually stop with the sound cue. That's the weird thing about it. It's actually a couple milliseconds after that. So you just have to get used to that, because what will happen if you don't is you will, for example, start moving too late from this spot. You will start if you hold it, it could happen that you just bonk into the wall, and you don't lose any speed, but you lose the frames where you're still pressing left and moving into the wall, when you actually should be going down. Again, this delay from this sort of the timing from going one space down here, again, that's a bit weird. You just have to get used to it. It's a lot of the things about this run. And then here, another QDV menu. I hope I explained that enough. If I didn't, please leave a comment or something like that. And I will definitely go into detail. I could make a separate video about that. So yeah, this is really just the boring part of the run. It's just a bunch of walking for like a minute. So we get the seedling. You can do this on the way back, so if you miss it, it doesn't really matter. You could get it on the way back. I just get it on the way here because again, makes it become muscle memory. And here is another one of those weird delays, where you can, that I didn't actually follow the delay. That was probably a bad example. Just test it out for yourself, and take a look at the delay and get used to it. That's really, sounds hard, but that's the only way around it. You can only really get used to it, and try your best to not get screwed up by it. If that happens to you a lot at the start, don't worry, it's normal. Like for the first probably 10-15 hours of running this game for me, I constantly had the wrong timing on the after the delay, and just bonked into a wall, lost milliseconds there, lost some time. So this is the third type of menu right here. This is the only menu in the game where you actually do it like this. I just call it the key menu because you use the key here. And this is the only menu in the game where you actually have to move left one in the inventory. And the way I do it is I do Q, A, C. So if you do it quickly, hold on. Please. Hello? What is going on right now? Why can't I get this menu? There we go. Just took a while. Again, it's a bit weird, like you have to hold your hand in a weird position for this. I didn't find a better way of doing this. So yeah, QAC is the way I do it. Again, feel free to experiment with different setups. Here's another one of those CV menus. Again, here try to not be too early. Try to do it as late as possible. It's like you're trying to basically input the C on the last frame of you walking onto the tile, and then when you're on the tile, the C will the game will execute the C input, which will open the menu, and then you press V, which will then select the item. So you just more walking. Walking's a big part of this game, to get, you're just walking for 4 minutes. It's kind of, it's not the greatest speed game ever. Here you get the bottle. Oopsie daisy. Then you go down here, and this is another one of those very specific menus with a very specific setup or very special way that I do it. So as you can see in my inventory, I have to move right, or well, you can also go left twice. I just go right twice. Again, feel free to make your own setup. So the way I do it is QD right, and then I press V. It can be very tricky. This is definitely a very, very hard menu when starting out. Don't, be discouraged if you practice for half an hour and you don't get this. This can be really frustrating to get really quickly. So QD right V, sorry. That's sort of the fastest way that I get it, So that's how it looks like if you get it really quickly. Again, I practice this for a couple hours, so don't be too discouraged if you don't get it. And this is probably, on my latest runs, this was the biggest choke point for me. This menu coming up here. So this is again another one of those special menus. It doesn't have a special setup, but here you have to do 2 quick QDV menus in succession. So you have to use the seedling on this patch of dirt, I guess. And then you have to use the water bottle after that immediately. What is weird about this is that after the first menu, after you use the seedling, there's again one of those really weird delays where you cannot, where the game will just not register any inputs. It will not buffer them either. So any input you do during that delay will just not happen. So it's sort of like right? It's I know it probably sounds weird, but just try it out for yourself. So yeah, you have to wait a certain amount of time after the first menu to sort of not get thrown off by this. So again, the way I do it is just like that. That was pretty much perfect. I don't think that was probably actually like almost frame perfect. And then you have to here, enter and leave the screen twice. And then you just go up to this again. Try not be too early on this. Do another one of those CV menus, and then it's really home stretch. Like after this, that was for me, that was the hardest point in the run. Getting that delay down is just really hard. It took me a lot of time. And then you go here, place the, another one of those CV menus. You place the flower. And here it's just like mashing away this text box as soon as possible. And then you're just, on the home stretch basically. Walking down to the final room. And here we go. This is the final room. The final room has a very specific sort of order in which you should do these fairies. So basically you go clockwise from here. You go pick up the blue fairy, and then you pick up the red fairy, and then you go up here and place the blue fairy. That was a QAV menu. This is really hard to do in a run because it's just, you have to basically multitask between doing really fast menus and also doing perfect movement basically. So again, the way, just if I were to demonstrate the movement, you do this, pick up the blue fairy, pick up the red fairy, go here, do the menu for the blue fairy, QDV, then you go one left, pick up the purple fairy, go up 3, right one onto this, and here we do another QDV menu, go up 1, go right here. You can also do like up, down, again, feel free to, do whatever you want, as long as you're not, like moving down 2 or whatever. You want to go here, do another QDV menu, go down 3 and place the green fairy with a CV menu, and that's it. Then you just gotta move to right and up 1, and time. Oh yeah, by the way, time starts when you're pressing new game in the select screen, and it ends when you touch the Megadoc, which is the boss right here. That's his name. So yeah, again, the last room is really difficult. It's again, you have to go here, pick up the blue fairy here, red fairy here, do the blue fairy menu here, go left 1, pick up the purple fairy, go up 3, place the red fairy here, get the green fairy here, and get the place the purple fairy here, place the green fairy there, go to left and 2 up, and you're done with the game. So yeah, that's really it. This last room, again, it's something that you really have to just practice. Sadly, you can only have one save state in this game, which sucks. Makes practicing these really just tedious, because you have to if you want to practice like the bottom menu, and you have a save for the last room, that's what I call this tile, the last room. Then you have to actually do a new run and get all the way to the bottom menu to make a save. It's it's tedious. It's just sadly how it is. So yeah, this room you have to practice a lot. Just getting down movement and the menus is really really difficult. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't work at first. This took me like 100 hours to, yeah, you have to say that I discovered fast menus about like 50 hours in, maybe 75 hours in. Don't exactly know. But yeah, this took me quite some time to get right. So yeah, that's it for the guide. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will get to every comment, I swear that. And yeah, this was my guide for Fairune Origin 80%. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, happy practicing, I guess. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Feel free to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If not, dislike, write me a comment why, what was missing, and yeah, I'll try to get to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, that was it for my Fairune Origin 80% guide.